So since I last made a video on Rocket Lab, a few things have changed and some more information has come into light. You may be wondering why Rocket Lab has been going up and down so much in the last week. So in this video we will briefly go over the reason for the relatively volatile stock price and illustrate some of the risks that RKLB shareholders should keep in mind when investing. We'll first go over some of the recent positive news regarding Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab has run 3 contracts since their latest financial report, which covered their first half 2021 financial results. The first contract is with Astroscale Japan, which is concerned with satellite servicing and orbital sustainability. The Electron is set to lift off from Rocket Lab Complex 1 in 2023 to launch active debris removal, which is a part of one of the first projects which will demonstrate the removal of large debris from orbit. The second contract is perhaps more important. Rocket Lab has won a $24.35 million US Space Force contract to develop the upper stage of the Neutron. This demonstrates that both parties wish to continue to regularly work with one another for the times to come. The funding has been awarded to support national security and defense launch capabilities. This contract is a part of a larger $75 million US R&D program. This may mean that Rocket Lab can join the National Security Space Launch (NSSL) launch providers as a Phase 3 provider by 2025. The third contract saw a huge jump in Rocket Lab's share price. However, these gains were quickly given up. Rocket Lab has been selected to launch NASA's Advanced Composite Solar Sail System using the Electron. This is a satellite which will test new deployable structures and materials for solar-powered related systems. If successful, these systems may allow sunlight to be used to power deep space exploration missions in the future. An interesting contract, to say the least. Rocket Lab's Neutron is set to become a bigger rocket than previously thought, with a 46-meter height compared to the previous 40-meter height and a 5-meter diameter fairing compared to the previous 4.5 meters. Perhaps this will allow for better competition in the future and may allow for small expansion to the capacities given at the moment. Elon Musk has certainly taken notice to Rocket Lab, with mixed but likely realistic comments regarding Rocket Lab. Elon Musk can be seen on Twitter responding to a tweet about Rocket Lab, saying, "Will be a Falcon 9 size sooner or later," which can be interpreted as both encouragement and friendly competition. Elon Musk can also be heard briefly talking about Rocket Lab on the Third Row Tesla podcast. He talks about the use of a helicopter for recovery.
What do you think about Rocket Lab's approach of trying to use a helicopter to recover the first stage?
I think that's going to be harder than it seems.
Yeah, I think so.
But their booster is quite small. So the issue with helicopters is you run into a max load problem. Like the lifting capability of helicopters is not that great, and that lifting capability drops with altitude. And then the range of a helicopter is also not that great. So then you end up having to have the helicopter on a ship, and then if in heavy weather conditions you can't take off. So that you have to be, your weather constraints at the launch point and the catch point are end up limiting your launch availability. And then you got to. It's dangerous. You've got somebody in a helicopter with a pilot trying to catch this thing coming out of the sky.
Yeah.
It
doesn't sound too sane.
There's certainly the potential for something to go wrong. Whereas if you have a drone ship, there's if it smashes into the drone ship, it's not a big deal. If it smashes into a helicopter, that's a big deal.
He also speaks more generally about Rocket Lab.
Yeah, so, overall I've been, that said, I've been pretty impressed with Rocket Lab, and they're making a go of it, and they're going to do reusability, which is important. It's fundamental.
Elon Musk's insights are interesting and seem reasonable. On the whole, I would say he gives a positive outlook on Rocket Lab, along with some great, useful criticism. Finally, I will go over the reason that Rocket Lab shares have been tumbling recently, according to the Motley Fool. Admittedly, I did not and still do not fully understand the complex nature of the SPAC IPO, so I'll try to explain the best I can at a simple level. It can be said that Rocket Lab has declined due to an amending of their S1 registration statement relating to shares held by insiders which may or may not be sold in the future. According to the Motley Fool, the amendments don't effectively change much. It's said that the auditors confirm in the update that everything is okay with regards to plans to issue shares upon warrants being issued, or earnouts, etc. For those that don't know, an earnout is a contractual position in which the seller of shares can obtain compensation if the business achieves certain financial goals. Now, perhaps the most important part of this article, this served as a reminder to investors that they could be heavily diluted in the future. In summary, by various means, around 433.7 million shares could potentially come up to sale, which makes investors nervous. These shares would be worth around $6.3 billion at current prices and would almost inevitably cause the share price to tank over time. However, in essence, I think the article is just trying to state that this should have already been apparent before these changes to the S1 registration. This just serves as a reminder to be more transparent to investors. For me, whilst this was something I was slightly worried about, I did not look into this previously and was unaware of the full extent of the current situation. Regardless, I plan to hold this stock for years, so I'm happy to average down if the time comes. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you buying, selling or holding? Of course, I endeavour for everything I state to be as accurate as possible. However, sometimes I do miss things, so please be sure to let me know in the comments below if I've made any mistakes. Thanks for watching.